Stock futures, I've seen them up actually 1,000 at one point, but we right now are, well, 900, surging on news this morning that the U.S. and China have agreed to slash most tariffs for 90 days. Joining us now in the market reaction, Sylvia Jablonski, Defiance ETFs CEO, CIO, and co-founder. The S&P's, not quite 6,000, but it looks like it could kiss 6,000. That was the year end for even bullish people about a month and a half ago. So it happened so fast.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. It sure did. It really happened over the weekend here. This news about changing levies going from potentially 145 to 30 on the U.S.'s side and 125 to 10 on China's side, and then leaving the door open for negotiations. I mean, this came much sooner, and it's very favorable to the markets. So we're seeing that play out in the futures this morning. We still have NASDAQ and S&P, down year to date, right? And the NASDAQ is dragging over S&P. But I think that this is the game changer here. This is where the tides turn for NASDAQ.
Could provide some impetus to other countries, I would think, too. So, I mean, the UK is one thing. But do you think China was feeling as though they had more to lose, Sylvia, finally?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to say. I think both countries probably saw a little bit of the demise of what would be here with a non-tariff deal as the data came in, right? So you had a lot of complaints around China across all sectors, and then in the U.S., retailers were reaching out to President Trump and saying that shelves are empty, and a lot of panic about semiconductor software companies. Apple itself, right? You just talked about how they increased prices there. Remains to be seen why, but I think that this is really a game changer for both countries. And the big message here is that both countries, it sounds like, decided that they really don't want to decouple, and make America great might also mean that China stays moving along in tandem as well.
Do you own pharmaceutical stocks? I just happened to Lilly closed at $734. Bidding 708. J&J's down significantly. Merck, everything's down this morning on the other news. Would you buy them here, or would you just take a step back after what we're going to see at 9 o'clock with that executive order?
Yeah, so it's, you're always kind of like one tweet away from rethinking your strategies, right? Yeah. But of all of the drug companies, Lilly and Hims were my favorite. I think that, Hims is like an AI tech company now. They have a huge TAM. They've had massive growth over the last year. This is really the next generation of medicine and pharma. And they're doing extremely well. So that was one of my top picks, as well as Lilly. You have weight loss innovation, and kind of continued growth there. But what I would say about pharma is, if they're talking about slicing prices 30 to 80% in the short term, you're certainly going to see a drop in all of these stocks across the board. But as a longer term investor, that's what was happening with tech when we had tariffs, right? Everybody kind of steers clear and runs for the woods. So I think if you get enough of a pullback here, these are good longer term plays, because what happens is, perhaps over time, you get more demand, you get more increases in the ability to sell these drugs across the world. And, not only that, these companies tend to be innovative. They tend to invest in AI. So I think some of that innovation also helps with cost cutting there. And I think over time, you kind of get this back. But in the short term, there's no doubt that they'll be hit.
So the markets recovered a lot of what happened. So what happens now? Let's say India comes along and we get some more trade deals. Is it never mind, or has the die already been cast? And is there already GDP going to be tough?
Well, is it never mind, or is it we get a better trade deal as a result and things look better than they did?
But do we already have issues to deal with because of what we've already done in this case? You think... Do we get another negative print in GDP? Do you think we get a rise in unemployment from this? Do you think, I don't know about inflation, seems too early to get, who knows? There's inflation left in the pipeline. But any of the really negative consequences, it just means, have we already gone far enough to where there are issues? Or can we just say, oops, forget it, onward and upward?
Well, I think it depends on what happens, and in the near term, I think the next reads that we see could have some impact from what has already happened. But what I would think is that a lot of this is short-lived, right? If we actually really have this trade deal and we really continue to negotiate, and all the other countries kind of start falling like dominoes, and we start falling like dominoes, together to have better trade deals and trade tariff policy for both sides, then I think that this is, this goes back to tech rallying. You're going to start seeing the Broadcoms, the Palantirs of the world, NVIDIA's catch a bid here, all these names that were kind of beat up because of these tariffs and things like that. And I think overall, corporations can kind of readjust and think about, we had to build all of these tariffs in. How will this impact the bottom line? If that's now gone, is that a better situation, right? And so I think all of that will eventually feed into the economy and jobs and GDP and things like that. But it has to actually be true, right? So we need some stability with this news, and we need to see that, all of this is kind of penned before that at that 90-day point.